And for more on the meetings and the agendas, I'm joined by Cheng Li. He's the director of the John Thornton China Center at the Brookings Institution. He specializes in Chinese politics and foreign relations. You're kind of an expert on this sort of thing. People probably calling you this week saying, what can we expect? What do you tell them?
I think that we should pay attention to the delicate balancing act that the Chinese government wants to maintain. On the one hand, we will hear a lot of discussion about China's economic slowdown, and we should not, or the government from their perspective, should not give unrealistic expectation. But at the same time, they should uplift the confidence about the overall direction of China. So that's a balance. On the other hand, that the Premier will talk about innovation. But at the same time, how to really promote innovation at the same time you wanted to pursue stability. So how could you achieve innovation without talking about all kinds of openness? So that's another delicate balance. And finally, that he will talk a lot about the supply side reform, which is very, very important, but how that balance with demand side. So these are the very, very concrete things. And also besides that, I think the Chinese public now very much concerned about the public health. You look at the surveys that the health-related issues like food safety, air pollution, and also insurance, medical care, and etc. really become the most important issues. How Chinese leaders address this issue, I think will be very, very important. Now, this is also potential will be a huge market and for development. And this is especially the service sector development will concentrate on public health. So give the great opportunity for China to develop in this area.
It's really interesting how the West covers this, because I remember last year the relaxation of the one-child policy. They got all kinds of headlines. Is there going to be a surprise like that in the sense that people were kind of surprised by that piece of information coming out?
Well, probably not, because this meeting really tried to endorse or approve the so-called 13th five-year plan. We already know what's the content. But it is important to see how that meeting really enhanced public confidence of the government. Now, you see Yu Zhengsen, the chairman of the CPPCC, deliver a very important speech. In that speech, he emphasized the balance between unity, which means the party leadership, but also diversity of society. This is appropriate to address this issue in the CPPCC, which largely reflects the Chinese Communist Party's effort to unite the front. Now, how much that will really open up the China's political system, but at the same time maintain what the Chinese leadership want to emphasize, the party leadership. So that is also an interesting delicate balance.
You brought up innovation, some of the things that we've seen them discuss in the past, anti-corruption, of course, and pollution. You also brought that up. Now, let me ask you about the stock market. You've got an aging population. Are these some of the things that might be addressed as well or talked about?
Of course, aging population is related with public health that issues, insurance system. I think this will be addressed. Now, you mentioned about anti-corruption. I think it's interesting to note that the public expectation in this area previously ranked very, very high, but now because of a very successful, relatively successful campaign, so that this is not the dominant concern of Chinese public. So I think more concerns about how local officials should have more incentive rather than to be inaction. This is what Chinese call inactive or inaction of the local leaders. So I think it's very, very important for Chinese top leadership to promote leaders who are clean, who are competent, and who are courageous. So this is what I call the 3 C's. I think this will be very, very important. Now, this is not directly related with economy, but if China can find this kind of leaders in the local level, in all administrations levels, I think China will be in much better shape to deal with these challenges.
I think you'd get a lot of people in the United States to be excited at the 3 C's too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much, Cheng Li.